I know I look like I'm going to talk to you about craft beer or something. I'm not. I'm here to talk to you about Weezer, actually. Oh, whoa. Oh, I hit a nerve. No, I'm not. I could go on at length about both topics. So no one's surprised. But I won't. Just like you guys, just a typical millennial, 37 years old, just trying to figure it out, Am I a person? Am I a brand? Am I a personal brand? Should I start vaping? There's just so many questions at this tender young age of 37. What a sweet spot to be in. Too young to die, but too old to go viral, It's not old. It's not. I don't feel old, okay? But I don't like being this age because it's one of those ages that you can't use as an excuse for anything. I can't get fucked up tonight and then not show up to something tomorrow and then be like, oh, sorry, I was out partying. You're only 37 once, Because it sounds sad at that point. You have to try now. You can't just listen to NPR. You have to donate, Get your life together. Get a tote bag. Am I where I thought I'd be at 37? No, I'm not. Because I thought that I would own a table saw by now, and I don't. And it bothers me, and I don't even know why. Does anybody here own a table saw? Yeah, you see that? Do you see how fast his hand shot up? That's. Oh my. Okay, rub it in, Jesus. That's what I want. You don't give a shit what happens tonight. You have a table saw to go home to. You probably got a router too. God damn it. Some guys have all the luck. I don't even do woodwork. Like, this is my job. I don't even do it as a hobby, I live in an apartment in Queens. There's no room for more than one table. Like, if I had a table saw, that'd be my primary table. I'd have to eat all my meals at my table saw. I have tools. Like, I feel good about that. I have a toolbox. I can fix things, theoretically. I can't legally because I rent, so I have to call the super, and I hate that feeling because then that guy comes over during the day when I'm at home, and then it's just two dudes hanging out in my apartment, and only one of them's got something to do. The other one's me, and I just hang out. Like, what am I supposed to encourage him? Should we assume some sort of traditional domestic roles that I make him lunch or something like that? I just follow him around like he's my stepdad. That's what I do. I ask him questions. What's it like to cut wood with a table saw? I'm doing fine, though. I'm fine. I have a cat. He's pretty great. Sometimes when he walks across the living room, I like to pretend that he's a waiter and I can't get his attention. I'm just like, sir, when you get... Can you get a second? I just want some goddamn ketchup. He yawned the other day, and I stuck my finger in his mouth. It was a clean shot, too. I got up to the second knuckle. I didn't touch anything on the inside. In and out. Ha! Like that. Got him. I've been trying to do that for 9 years. That was a big day. Big day in my house. I'll never forget it. He'll never forget it. He just looked at me like, what's your deal, man? You're almost 40. Get a table saw. Stop trying to stick your fingers in my mouth. said that all with his eyes. I try. I put an effort in as a person, for my health especially. I run now. Does anybody else do that? Stupid, dumb, foolish activity. I hate it. I feel like I have the flu after every time I run. Is that the runner's high? Is it just heroin withdrawal? I'm pretty good at running. I feel terrible afterwards. I don't even run that far. I don't know why I do it. It doesn't fix anything. I hit my personal best distance the other day. I ran 5.5 miles, and it fixed nothing. Nothing. My nipples hurt. I was just super hungry. All my enemies are still alive. What was the point? On an average week, I don't even run that far. But every time I run, it feels like a marathon. And I'll treat it like a marathon, too, Like, I'll have friends hand me cups of water as I run by. And at the end, I'll wrap myself in a foil blanket. I'll crap my pants in the middle of the whole thing, too. Because I'm training, training for the real deal. I want to run a marathon. That's my fantasy. I want to be like an athlete, like a sponsored athlete, But I'm not like a Nike or Adidas level athlete. I'm like an Old Navy level athlete, probably. That's where I buy all my workout clothes. They have a whole department there. If you don't know this, they're like, hey, do you sort of try twice a week? Then our gym shorts are for you, buddy. I would run for Team Old Navy. I'd run a marathon. I'd wear my Old Navy gear. All the Old Navy bigwigs would be watching me. They'd be like, there he goes. There's our guy. Why does he keep stopping to eat like that? Because I'm hungry, okay?
She works for Old Navy.
All right. That's great. Do you want to talk sponsorships later? I'll show you my mile time. I'm almost under 11. That's like, I'd be the Usain Bolt of Old Navy runners. I want to run a marathon so I can eat whatever I want afterwards and nobody can say anything to me about it, Like, we'll be out and they'll be like, really, Jim? A second pizza? And then I'll be like, excuse me? Did you just run a marathon? They'll be like, Jim, that was 3 years ago. I'm into it, I got a Fitbit and everything, but I question this thing's accuracy. The other day, it told me I hit my steps as I was lifting a French fry to my mouth. I'm like, is this what you've been measuring the whole time? Damn. I don't even want to get ripped, I just want to lose enough weight to shower with my shirt off. That's where I'm at right now. Just being honest with you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that I'm here, too, I am excited. I'm happy to be here. I don't know if I sound like it. This is me at an 11, everybody. This is as pumped as I get. I'm literally living my dream right now. It's not coming out, I'm sure, but I'm just afraid to show enthusiasm, mostly because of what happened to Howard Dean in 2004. Some of you remember that. That guy, he was almost president, and then he went on TV, and he was just like, yeah! And then we were all like, nope, not that guy. That guy's got zero chill. Can't have a man like that in the White House, can we? Oh, seems quaint now. What I wouldn't give for a little awkward Howard Dean enthusiasm. But whatever. I want to emote, I want to party, but I have trouble doing that. I thought about writing a memoir, but then I was like, who's going to read a bunch of stories about a guy turning down cocaine, Because those are all my party stories. The book would just be called, I can't. I got a thing in the morning. I wish it was easier to emote, especially like crying. That's tough. Nobody cares when dudes cry. If you see a guy crying on the street, you're never like, hey man, is everything all right? You're like, hey man, do you want to take that inside, please? You are making people uncomfortable. I didn't cry for 4 years one time, which is not healthy. You're supposed to cry. Stuff would happen that should have made me cry, but then I would just be like, ha! And then I would get heartburn for a couple of days, you know? I cried eventually. It was totally unrelated. My girlfriend was like, she was like, let's take a trip upstate. She's like, it'll be great. I'm gonna get an Airbnb. It'll be real romantic. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, and I'm gonna bring some mushrooms. And I was like, yes. And then we get up to this place, and it's like a Friday afternoon. And she's like, do you want to have sex? And I was like, actually, I kind of want to do the mushrooms first. I had never done mushrooms to that point, okay? I had had sex before, but I had never done mushrooms. So I was excited about the mushrooms. We did the mushrooms, all right? And she eats them, and she's done them before. She's fine. They kick in for her, no problem. Nothing's happening to me. I'm like an hour and a half into this now. Nothing's happening. And then out of nowhere, I just start crying. It was literally in an instant. I was just like, hey, I don't think these things are kicking in. And it was pretty chill at first. It was like a quiet, low-key, like a stoic mist, I would call it. Like, I cried like, like a general in a war movie. Like they got Sanchez, Like a military cry. Then I thought, oh, this will pass, and then I'll be laughing like they do in the movies. And that is not what happened. What happened is I continued to cry for 3 consecutive hours. And I did not stay at the stoic mist level. I ramped up to like a full grown man blubber. Just about nothing, too. I don't even know. I get along with my dad. There was nothing going on. I just had to come out, I guess. And then it stopped, like, just as fast as it started. And I was so embarrassed. I'd never cried in front of her before, and I tried to play it off. I was just like, whoa, you see that back there? That was crazy, huh? Wow, we sure are tripping, huh? Oh, God. How come you're not crying? Is it a different batch, maybe from a different farm or something? Wow, that was fun, huh? Guess what we didn't do that weekend, everybody? Yeah, we didn't have sex. It was her choice, and I respect it, She was sticking to a general rule that I think we should all stick to, and that is don't have sex with anybody who's crying. Don't ever do that. If somebody's crying, don't have sex with them. I don't know if that even to be said out loud, but it's a good rule. It's not a turn on either. There's no like crying hunks calendar, There's no crying guy porn. Well, yeah, there is, but like you've never found it on accident. You've had to look for it. It's that kind of porn. It's real niche stuff. I was like, we're never gonna have sex again. I'm gonna have to reclaim my masculinity somehow. I'm gonna have to go kill a deer with a pocket knife or something. I just yelled out, I'm gonna go start a fire. And she was like, okay, try not to cry it out. So, yeah. I mean, what was she supposed to say? We recovered. It's fine. It's just hard. I don't know. None of the guys in my family could show their feelings either. My dad wasn't great at it. My grandfather was terrible. He didn't tell me he loved me until about 6 months before he passed, and then he left it on a voicemail for me. He just called me, and he was like, hey, Jimmy, it's your grandpa. I love you, but not in a gay way. And then he hung up the phone. Like he had to add that qualifier, like I was going to misinterpret his message. Like, I'm going to call my dad. Hey, Dad, you might want to talk to Grandpa. I think he's falling for me. He told me he loved me. Why would a man say that to another man? Just say it, who cares? Cry if you have to. Let it out. I live in New York. Ever heard of it? It's pretty cool. They have pizza there. I got hit by a car there about a year ago. That was pretty sweet big city moment, I was like, city of dreams. It's an overwhelming place. It really is. There's a lot of people, you feel invisible sometimes. You really do. And I was having one of those days where I felt invisible, and then I was in the middle of a crosswalk and a car hit me because it didn't see me. And I didn't really need that confirmation from the universe that I may have in fact been invisible. But I got it. It was a hit and run, too. The car just kept going. Yeah. I get it, it's New York. You get an open lane in that town, you take it, all right? You just go. I broke my hand and my face was pretty busted up, and then the cops showed up, and they were like, we're gonna get this guy. And I was like, no, you're not. And they were like, yeah, we are. Call us in a week. And I called them in a week, and they were like, we can't find this guy. And I was like, cold case, huh? And they were like, yeah, nobody in this town talks. And what really happened is there was no cameras. There was no cameras in the area, okay? So, no, they couldn't find the guy, right? And that sucked, because I felt robbed. And not of justice or, a settlement or anything like that. I was robbed of video of me getting hit by a car. Because that's what I wanted. As soon as I realized that I was relatively okay, I was like, did anybody get that? And they were like, the license plate of the car that hit you? I'm like, no, did anybody get that on video? Nobody. I could have done a lot with that video. It would have been my Christmas card, I'll tell you that much. Everybody's getting a copy of that video. I'd close on it. I'd be like, thanks for coming out, everybody. Here's a video of me getting hit by a car. If you showed me video of your kids, I would show you video of me getting hit by a car. You'd be like, here's my 3-year-old. I'm like, here's me getting hit by a car. Life sure is precious. We both realize that for different reasons. I don't want to die early, obviously, but I don't need to live super long. I think somewhere in the middle would be perfect. I went to an event in New York a while back for Twitter, and Jack Dorsey was speaking, and then he, at the end of his speech, he just goes, thanks for coming, everybody. I hope we all live for 150 years. And then he walks off the stage, and I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? And of course, everybody's like, yay! And I'm like, wait. Think about this. Why would he say that? Why would he say that? Because he's rich, because he's super rich. He can afford to live for 150 years. I can't afford to live for 150 years. I've got until about March, if I'm doing the math here. Financially speaking, I might make it to mid-2020. Jack Dorsey looks at his bank account and he's like, yeah, more of this. And I have never said that, looking at my bank account. I look at mine and I'm like, Jesus, kill me now. Just get it over with. What's the point? Also, 150 years is a long time, okay? You get bored. I really feel that way. I feel like you'd get bored. Even the beautiful stuff, you wouldn't care. You'd be like, oh, great, another sunset. Let me get my camera. I need 6,000 more of these goddamn things. Hope I'm changing your life tonight, I hope I'm just fucking touching you all in the hearts. You never know. You never know how you're going to affect a stranger's life. This isn't super deep. Just hang tight. I hosted a comedy show in New York for many years, right? And this guy messaged me on Twitter a while ago, and he was just like, hey, man, I met my girlfriend at your show a year ago, and I want to come to the show tonight. I'm going to bring her, and I want to propose to her. at your show. And there's like a general rule in comedy that you just never let that happen. Because somebody has to follow it, and it just like changes the energy of the night completely, depending on which way it goes, obviously, right? But I just threw that rule out the window, and I was like, yeah, man, sure. Why don't you propose to your girlfriend at my show? But I didn't want any of the other comics to like have to follow it. So I said, listen, what we'll do is you just hang tight and, watch the show or whatever, and then at the end of the show, I'll say, thanks for coming out, everybody. We got a special guest. And then I will just call you up on stage, and then you can propose, and then we'll party, and it'll be great. And if it goes poorly, we can all just get the fuck out of there. We can all be like, whoa, and then leave, Good luck, buddy. So then, the show comes that night, okay, and I give this guy my phone number, and we have it all arranged. And then we go through the whole show, we get to the end of the show, and I'm just kind of in work mode. It's, kind of all force of habit at that point. And I come up after the last comic, and I say, thanks for coming out, everybody. Have a great night. And I just walk off the stage, and the house lights go up. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot. I just forgot. Just forgot that guy. As soon as I step off the stage, I feel my phone vibrate. And then I look, and it's a text message from him. And it just says, what the fuck? And I'm like, fair question. Fair question. So I text him back, and I'm like, meet me at the bar. I want to apologize to you in person. I am so sorry. I want to give you the opportunity to hit me. If you'd like, you can punch me in the face. He didn't. We get to the bar, and he walks in, his lady's outside, and he walks up to me, and he just looks at me, and he goes, what the fuck? And I was like, dude, I am so sorry. I just got into my, my routine, my pattern, and I forgot to bring you up. But I said, listen, next week, you want to do this again, I promise, I will tell the producer of the show, I will tell the whole house staff what's happening, so nobody will forget. I will get streamers. I will get balloons. We will make a big deal out of this, all right? And if you want to do that next week. And then he was like, all right, cool. And I said, just let me know. And then I never heard from him again, ever. And now I'm like, well, I don't know what I did, Like, did I ruin that guy's life? Or did I give him an extra week to think about it? I don't know. You don't know. You really don't. And I really even only think that just because a similar thing happened to me, right? This is like many years ago. I was engaged. I was pretty young, and I was doing comedy at the time, and I was working at a comedy club in Philadelphia with Tom Wilson. He's Biff from Back to the Future. I was opening for him, okay? He's a really funny stand-up. And we're in the green room, throughout the week, and I'm having problems in my relationship. It's falling apart, okay? And that's all I can think about. I'm just backstage pacing all the time when I'm not on stage. And finally, by the end of the week, Tom Wilson, a.k.a. Biff, comes up to me and he's like, hey, man, I don't mean to pry, but every time I come back into this green room, you look like you're preoccupied, like something's going on. Is everything okay? And I was like, wow, well, short version is I got a fiance that doesn't like it when my career is going well. And he looks at me and he's just like, you can't marry her. And then he just walks onto stage. And I was like, wow, okay. This guy's been to the future, I probably got to call this thing off. And I did. I called it off. And Biff has no idea, Tom Wilson doesn't know that he changed the course of my life, that he probably just finished that week or whatever. You just never know. Another thing, I was in New York. This was a couple months ago. This is gross, but I had a stomach flu, okay? I was in the house for like 2-3 days. I finally emerged to go run some errands. I go to buy a Subway card, and I look, and the only open kiosk is right next to this couple who's fighting really bad. Like, they are breaking up, okay? They are fighting bad. And I have to use this kiosk to get my Subway card. I'm standing there trying to make my transaction as fast as possible, and then I fart. I fart the most disgusting smelling thing that my body has ever produced, okay? It was foul. I smell it, and then I try to finish up as quick as I can to get away. And I smell it, and then I turn, and I take like 2 steps, and then they stop fighting. They stop fighting, and one of them's like, was that you? And the other one's like, was that you? It wasn't me. And then they keep going back and forth, and then they start laughing. Now I'm like 15 feet away, and I hear them laughing, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I saved that couple. Maybe I was their gassy little angel. Who knows? You never know. You really don't. Thanks for being here. You could have been in an escape room tonight, but you're not. That's good. You made the right choice. That's a pretty viable, reasonable option for a group activity now. You could pay to get into a room and then get out as fast as you can. You pay to get in, then you gotta get out. You gotta solve the puzzles and get out as quick as you can. You don't get any money back if you get out sooner. You don't go to a better room or anything. You just leave. You just have to get out. They're fun. I get it. They're taking up a lot of real estate, though. Everywhere I go, everywhere I travel to, they are all over the place. And I feel like, could we do something better with those spaces? Like, imagine trying to explain the concept of an escape room to a homeless person. You'd be like, you pay to get in, but you better get out. He'd be like, why? Why? You paid to get in. He'd be like, you gotta solve the puzzles and get out. That's just the thing. He's like, is it cold in there? And you're like, nope, it's climate controlled. But you gotta get out. He's like, is there a big scary dog in there? And you're like, nope, it's furnished. It's very nice, but you pay to get in and you gotta get out. You gotta solve the puzzles and get out. And then he's like, what if I just don't solve the puzzles? And then you're like, you're being ridiculous. And he's like, I think you're being ridiculous. And he's right. He's the right one in that scenario. I've done an escape room. I did one with my girlfriend recently, and I highly recommend doing them with a significant other. It's a nice test, nice teamwork test. You never know when the two of you are going to have to, get out of a room together, I guess. I was worried that we'd be in the escape room and then we'd get into an argument and then I would have 2 things that I was trying to figure my way out of, But that was not the case. We were good. I think about escaping quite a bit, in the general sense. Maybe living in a van, a furnished van. That seems pretty fun. A lot of young people are doing that nowadays. I went down an internet wormhole, There's these videos on YouTube. People living in vans, young people living in vans. They were stoked on it, too. Nobody was upset about it. I was always taught, don't live in your vehicle. Don't ever do that. Literally do everything you can to never live in your vehicle. Fight it as hard as you can. And that's what I've done so far, I've done a few stints in my vehicle, but never too long, But these people were into it. They were into it. They were like, it's not living in a van, it's van life. They had a name for it, it's van life. And I was like, man, this generation is really good at rebranding failure, We're like, it's not living in a van, it's van life. We're not unemployed, we freelance. We're not drowning in student debt, we're swimming in it. We're staying afloat by living in vans. It's perfect, it works. I got a VR headset recently, which was pretty cool. Made it 36 hours before I looked at porn on it. I tried. Yeah, that was a long time. Thank you. He's like, wow, I am impressed. I tried so hard not to. I was like, Jim, this is a really cool piece of technology. Don't you dare. Don't you dare use it for that filthy, filthy activity. But then what happens, I'm sure a lot of you know, you've used VR before, right? You put it on your head and then, the menu comes up and it's offers you a list of experiences you can have in virtual reality. And it's like, hey, would you like to ride a roller coaster? And then you're like, I could do that in real life. And then it's like, all right, would you like to snowboard down a mountain? And then you're like, I've already done that. And then it's like, okay, why don't you come over here? This thing's got a private browser. You want to be a foot taller and have sex with attractive strangers? And then you're like, yeah, I would, actually. I cannot experience that in real life. I think VR might be required for this. That's how you end up looking at porn in VR, okay? You just get lured into it. And it sucks that that's the only, like, adult experience you can have in virtual reality. Like, if something would have been like, hey, would you like to see interest accumulate on a 401k? I would have been like, yes, I would. Holy shit, I am super hard right now just thinking about it. The porn thing was a bit much. Like, I'm so glad that that was not around when I was 13, because if it was, I would not be standing in front of you. Because my legs would have atrophied by this point. I would have no muscles below my waist. And also, you're masturbating blindfolded, which is really strange, too. You got to think about that, too. Your pants are at your ankles, and your eyes are covered. And it's an irrational fear, but I just kept thinking, you know, I'm going to finish, and I'm going to pull this mask off, and then everybody I went to high school with is going to be standing in front of me for some reason. I have student debt. Clap if you have student debt. There we go. Now we're talking. Everybody else, I'm suspect of you. I don't have a ton because I went to community college. I don't know if you could tell. I don't know if you can feel that. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. I don't know if I'm giving off community college vibes. Anybody else go to community college? Yep. There we go. I had a lot of haters in my academic career in high school. You know, a lot of haters, a lot of educational professionals that were like, Jim, don't go to college. And then I was like, fuck you, I have $800. And that's how I ended up in community college. That's how that works. I went to college late. You know, a lot of my friends after high school, they went off, did the 4-year school thing. And because of my haters, I joined the military. I was in the Coast Guard for 4 years. Thank you. And then I went to community college after that. And I always felt like I missed out. Because my friends who went to their 4-year schools, they would be like, it's great, man. It's great, we're partying. We're partying with girls. And I was like, damn it. I missed all that. But then I got to community college and I was partying with women, you know? Like women who had been through some shit, okay? Way different party vibe in community college. It's not like a frat thing. It's like a grocery store parking lot kind of energy. And I loved it. And I don't want to stand up here and brag, but I finished community college, okay? Yeah. Not a lot of people do that. A lot of people are like, it's been 6 years, I have 3 credits, this is bullshit. I'm out. But I finished, went on to a 4-year school to further spite my haters at a great cost. I got a film degree. This is what you do with a film degree. This or sell drugs, I guess. You could do it legally here. You could be a bud tender. I love that name. You guys know what a bud tender is here, okay, right? You know, it's like a bartender, but you know that. You know how those words work, right? I'm sure there were alternate names that were thrown out. You know, I'm sure they were all like, hey, maybe we should call ourselves salesmen. And then somebody was like, no, that's too square. And then somebody's like, how about concierge? And then they were like, no, it's too funny. Let's go with bud tender. And then, you know, the bud tender, you walk into the shop, and then you tell the bud tender what you want the weed to do for you, and then they tell you what kind of weed to get, right? And when I was in Denver last time, I tried it, right? I walk into the weed shop, I talk to the bud tender. He's like, what are you looking for? And I was like, I want like a nice head high, okay, and I want to be like relaxed, and maybe if you have something that will have made me have not gone to film school, do you have anything back there that could do that? And he's like, we don't, but we get that question a lot, actually. And I said, okay, cool, do you have anything back there that'll make me think about my parents dying for 3 hours? And he was like, yeah, all of it, actually, all of it'll do that. I support recreationally legal weed, totally, okay? But I don't like the idea of everybody being high all the time, because we still have stuff to do. Like, you have to know your limits, really. I was in Denver a while ago. I went to a coffee shop during the day because, I'll go write and then do my shows at night or whatever. And I got a little high before I went into the coffee shop. And I thought I was going to maintain just fine. But then when I got into the coffee shop, I realized I was just high enough to not be able to decide what I really wanted to drink. I wanted an Earl Grey tea, and I also wanted a latte. And both those things were just, winning. And I'm standing in line, and I get closer and closer to the barista, and I cannot decide still. Nothing's moving to the front. And I get up to the register. The guy's like, "What can I get you?" And I just yell out, "Oh, latte!" Because I didn't want to hold up the line, And he makes me my latte, and I sit down, and I start writing up on my laptop, Take a couple sips, and then I'm like, God damn it. I wanted the Earl Grey tea. But now I'm like too embarrassed. I don't want to go tell this man that I made the wrong choice. But then I think to myself, Jim, you only get one life. Don't spend an extra second of it consuming a caffeinated beverage that you do not truly desire. Go up to that man and tell him what you want. And I did that. I walked up to the barista and I looked at him and I said, "Sir, what I really wanted was an Earl Grey tea, and I'm sorry." And he looked at me for like too long. And he just went, "I get it, man." And then he made me the tea. And I was like, this is perfect. Why can't we all be this high all the time? He didn't even charge me for it. I was like, this is utopia. And then I sit back down. Now I got my Earl Grey tea. I'm happy. I'm just hanging out. I'm doing a little people watching. And then I see that barista go on his lunch break, okay? And I see him go leave the establishment that he works at. And he gets to the door. And he pulls on the push door. And then he looks at it like it really got one over on him. He kind of trips himself up and he's just like, "Ha ha!" And then I was like, you know what? Maybe we can't do this. Maybe we can't be this high, I don't mean to sound like Jeff Sessions up here, but he came back, too. I watched him come back and walk up to the door and do the exact same thing. And he looked at that door like, "You got me again, door!" Oh, yes. I have a girlfriend. She's pretty great. She cares about me. She wants me to stay hydrated. Huge concern of hers. I'm going to say it's her primary concern, probably. She's always like, "Did you drink enough water? Do you have enough water today? You ever tried water? You ever seen water?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know how water works. I get it. I've made it this far." She thinks that before we met, I was just like wandering the earth. Like, if there were only a simple remedy. And then she just jumps out from behind a bush. She's like, "Have you tried drinking water?" And I'm like, "Oh, you angel." She brags about how much water she makes me drink to other people, too. I've seen her do it. I've heard her. She'd be like, "See that grape over there? He used to be a raisin. That's my boyfriend. He was just an old dry pile of leaves before I showed up. Now he's a healthy tree." She drinks a ton of water. Maybe too much. She drinks a lot of water. She uses a lot of lotion. She is a very moisturized person. I will say bordering on slippery, honestly. Oh, you can catch her, but you cannot hold on, all right? She uses those face masks at night, all right? I see those on, and it's like a nice, quiet way of telling me that we're not going to have sex that night. I see the mask, I'm like, copy that. I'm going to go play video games. You could join me if you'd like. But I worry that at some point Like, I'll come home and she'll have the mask on and I'll be in the mood and I'll see the mask and then I'll be like, so we're not? And then she'll be like, no, let's go for it. And then I'll be, are you going to take the mask off? And then she'll be like, I can't yet. And then we'll do it with the mask on and then I will like it, like, more than I have ever liked anything in my entire life. And then I'll be a mask guy. Then that'll be my thing. Moisturizing masks will be my thing. And that would get weird pretty quick. Nobody wants that, especially her, because then I'll be like, oh, come on, why don't you put the mask on? Oh, come on, you're looking a little dry there. It's my birthday. Let's do the thing with the mask. I'll wear one too. Nobody wants that. It's an interracial relationship too. She's Puerto Rican, and I will never be with another white woman again. Yeah. Those are her words, not mine, by the way. Just letting all you know. It's nice being in a relationship with somebody who has a different cultural background than you, you know? She speaks Spanish. She spent her summers there. She has stuff with the flag on it and the tiny frogs. And she cooks the food, too, you know? And then she shares that with me, and I love it. I really do. But then I feel bad because I don't have a culture to share in return, all right? I'm a white guy. My name's Jim. I got nothing. I'm from PA. There's nothing there, okay? You know, she'll be like, try this. It's called mofongo. And I'm like, oh, this is delicious. Have you had the food of my people? It's called oatmeal. No, don't put anything on it. That wouldn't be traditional. It's supposed to taste like nothing. We get along really well. The only area I feel like we differ greatly in is like supernatural stuff, like scary stuff. Yeah, because she's in like Ouija boards and scary movies and cemeteries. I don't touch it. I don't even pray because I don't know what kind of doors that's gonna open. A while back, I come home and I see her. She's on her laptop and she's searching for haunted dolls. Like to buy on eBay to bring into our home. Yeah. I'm like, what are you doing? You don't think this is a couple's decision? Just gonna try and bring a haunted doll in? Think I'm not gonna notice? I'm like, you don't have a doll collection to hide the haunted one amongst. That'd be the only doll in our house. And then even if it looked sort of normal, it would inevitably do some haunted doll shit. It'd move from one corner to the other, or cry blood, or whatever. You know, they can't help themselves. They're possessed by definition. And then I talked her out of it, finally, you know, because I was like, listen, and I think we all know this. We've seen the movies. You don't get a haunted doll by buying one on eBay, right? It comes into your life. That's how you get a haunted doll. You have to like get a job in Massachusetts in the fall or something. And then get transferred up there, you know, and you have to like buy a house, and the only house that's on the market is like this really old, creepy one, but it is very charming, you know, like all the stuff's super original. It's been on the market for way too long. Nobody wants to talk about it. Then you get there and there's like a old tree out back with a swing on it, and then your kid's like, can we play on the swing? And you're like, yeah, but be careful. And then they get hurt in a really weird way, and you're like, all right, this house is pretty charming, and this is my dream job. And then you're back in the house, you know, and it is cold. It is cold. This is like late fall in New England, and the heat works, but then there's just some parts that are just like way too cold for no reason. But you're like, whatever. And then, you know, like there's a rocking chair in the living room that just moves sometimes. But you ignore that, too. And then your kid's like, oh, I talked to Timmy the other day. And you're like, who the fuck is Timmy? And then they're like, oh, it's a little boy that lives at the end of the hallway. And you're like, God damn this house. It is very charming. It really is. And this is my dream job. And then there's like a storm and it's real windy, you know, and then the power goes out, but like in a really violent way, okay? Like the bulbs blow and stuff, and then you got to go check it out. You got to go in the basement, check the breaker. So you go down there with a flashlight and like you get to the bottom of the stairs and then the flashlight goes out, you know, and you're like... And then it comes back on, and then you're looking, and like you see, when it comes back on, you see like the breaker box, but then you also see like this door that you hadn't seen before, and then you go in that door, and then there's a whole other room in there, and then there's a doll in that room, and then that's your haunted doll. That's how you get a haunted doll. Everybody knows how you don't buy a haunted doll on eBay, right? Thank you guys so much. My name's Jim Tews. Have a great night.